Hey everybody, thanks for coming. My name's Galo Gutierrez. I'm an active member of Windy City Reptiles, and I'm also the Upper Midwest representative for USARK. What is USARK? We are the United States Association of Reptile Keepers. What we do is we reach out, look for participation and support from everyone in the hobby to help us lobby for reptile keepers' rights in Washington. Everybody who wants something has their lobbyists. They present their case to the politicians for and against whatever it is that they're looking to get. We do that for the rights of the reptile keepers. Hobbyists, breeders, suppliers, farmers, feeder breeders, all fall into this. But the only way it works is with the participation of the people. There's two ways you can help us out. The first way is by becoming a member of USARK, usark.org. You go on there, there's a place where you can sign up to be a member. I believe it's different categories depending on how you want to be, what kind of member you want to be. And also you can go on there and just make a donation to the cause. Smallest amount posted is $1. And if you think about it, what's $1? If you get 10,000 people to give you $1, it's 10 grand. So that's what USARK does. Their main focus is education and protection of rights. What we're talking about today is what happened to us that's directed straight from Florida and that became a national issue. And that was the python ban. This started as an issue specifically in the Everglades of Florida. The invasive species that was being called the problem was the Burmese python. Well, USARK fought hard and was able to stall any efforts to get the pythons and other large species of snakes banned in Florida. So what happened was Florida Fish and Wildlife, along with HSUS and a few other large groups with lots of money, created a law that they sent directly to the president's desk. And on that list were 9 species of large snakes. When this went down to Washington, there was a lot of pressure from these big money groups in Florida who were pushing hard to get this passed. Well, there was some pressure from us to not get this passed. What ended up happening was that the 9 became 4. The Burmese python, the North African rock, the South African rock, and the yellow anaconda. This is only the beginning. This ban will go into effect March 23rd. But now the door is open for other species to be added to this law. So the fight needs to continue. What this law does when it goes into effect on the 23rd of March 2012 is it will ban the import of these animals from outside markets. Not only to a Florida port, but nationally. So basically, if it's not here now, it will not be allowed to come here legally. And what it does to people here that already have them, breed them, own them, have rescued them, is that it will limit them to keeping it in their own state. So, say you're a Burmese python breeder. You have a clutch of Burmese pythons. Your market is the online market. Your online market just went from all 50 states to your specific state. Somehow nobody saw what a financial impact this would be on people in our hobby. So the questions always come up, well, what if? Well, what if I'm just going to visit my friend that lives in another state? You know, he wants to see my snake, so I'm just going to take it over there so as he can see him and bring him back. You have just committed a federal offense. That will be considered a felony. Not a misdemeanor, not a warning, a felony. If you live in Illinois and your vet is in Indiana, you need to find a new vet. Taking any of the snakes that are on the list in the ban to another state just for a vet visit will be a federal offense. So you need to be aware of those two specific things more than anything. The original 9 became 4. Those 4 cannot be imported legally anymore, and they cannot be moved, sold or otherwise, from state to state. If you live here and you get a job in another state and you want to take your berm, you can. What can happen is also the possibility that they could institute some sort of a permit system for you to be able to do that. But once again, now you have to declare what you own. Basically, you're letting somebody into your home. What this has done is it has basically said, if the government determines that you shouldn't have something or that something is bad for you, you can't have it. This law went straight to the president's desk. It was signed by the president and made a law. No congressional vote. Just, we want it, and here it is.
What's called is fast tracking.
Absolutely. It's called fast tracking. It's called a lot of different things. But it's the biggest issue here is that this is only the beginning for both sides. We now have something very serious to fight for, and they have something very serious to fight against. There is no need, if you own one at this point, to look to get rid of it. Okay? Can that change? Absolutely. That's where we need to fight. Also, right now, the main thing, if you have these animals, because a lot of states are now trying to put their own laws in for their own states, is to find out what your county, your city, your state has on the books for regulating these animals. If it's nothing, good for you. If it's something, be aware of it. Because the only way that they're gonna be able to make this thing bigger is by showing that people are constantly doing this thing illegally. Those are the two main points. That is the main focus of what's going on. We don't want this to happen. We don't want this to continue to grow. Right now, it's the berms, it's the rocks, it's the, it's the anaconda. What's next? You know, the retic, the boa constrictor. What's next? Larger animals, larger reptiles, lizards. The list can be endless. Their foot is in the door now. But you have somebody that is willing and able to fight for you. And it requires all of your support. Any way you can. Spread the word, get the message out that breeders, hobbyists, as well as professionals in the field, need to come together. We need to create numbers. We need to make our voices heard. Our voices were heard enough that 9 became 4. You know, it's not a huge win, but it's still, we still had some impact. And that's what we need to keep focusing on and fighting for. Because they are just basically deciding to take our rights away. And we can't let that happen. Not for anything. Because we don't know, once this ball gets rolling, where it could end up. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, how they did this bill through? Was this part of something that was kind of, you know,
here's what,
in the bill and
no,
they had to sign something because it was going to do something, you know, and in the meantime they threw this in there.
What happened was, it started us in Florida. We kept knocking it down, knocking it down, knocking it down. Every time something came up about it, we kept knocking it out. So Salazar, HSUS, which is the Humane Society of the United States, along with other big conservation groups, came together, big money, and said, we need to send this straight to Washington, and we need to make it a national ban. So they turned a local issue into a national issue, okay? And with their studies, basically made it sound like you need to stop this because this is going to continue and it's going to spread, and you know, Burmese pythons are going to run wild all over the country. This is how they do it. And with money and with lobbyists, this can happen. You know, and basically, when we did our grassroots letter writing campaign, did you guys remember that? When we were also, I believe that had a lot to do with why 9 became 4. So that's why, that's how it happened. The president does have that power when it's deemed a national threat to bypass the vote, you know, to bypass the vote system and go directly into the decision to sign it off into law.
So it was one, this was a specific law, not a package.
Right. It was focused on one place and then just spread out.
Well, I mean, when Obama signed it, was he signed it? Okay.
Right. Yes, it was. Thank you.
So they slid it in there.
Absolutely.
So that's what
So
I wanted to know.
that
It wasn't exactly against.
no, absolutely not.
It took 5 votes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because they do have a problem in Southern Florida.
Absolutely, but it's a local problem. And what you do with this ban, what you don't do with this ban, is do anything towards the resolution of that problem.
Right.
Because the berms that are in Florida are still there.
Yes.
So what did you do? You impacted the whole country, and the problem is still there.
Yeah. They ain't going away there anytime soon, so they're going to be out.
But that is, the whole thing is March 23rd, banning the import and the state-to-state transfer of these animals. Those are the main focus. Who's helping us fight? USARK is fighting for you guys. Support them, spread the word. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Galo.